Welcome to the world behind the British monarchy's polished facade. Here, beneath the grandeur and tradition, lies a realm rarely glimpsed by the public. A place where whispers echo through gilded halls and secrets are guarded as fiercely as the crown itself. Beyond the pageantry, a fierce struggle for power and control is unfolding within the royal family. Every gesture, every glance is scrutinised as alliances shift and old rivalries simmer just beneath the surface. The palace, often seen as a symbol of stability, is in fact a battleground for influence and legacy. Recent events have shattered the illusion of unity, exposing a ruthless machinery working behind the scenes. The world's media, ever hungry for scandal, has seized upon every misstep, amplifying the drama and fueling public speculation. The leak of Operation London Bridge, King Charles's funeral plans, has ignited a scandal, revealing deep tensions between the King and Prince William. This breach of trust has not only embarrassed the monarchy, but also raised questions about loyalty and succession within the royal ranks. This isn't just a family squabble, it's a battle for the narrative and the future of the crown. The stakes are nothing less than the survival of the monarchy's image in the modern world. We'll examine the palace's frantic efforts to silence the press, as officials scramble to contain the fallout and protect the royal brand from further damage. The vindication of Prince Harry's warnings as his past claims about the inner workings of the monarchy and its relationship with the media are brought into sharp focus. And the troubling patterns of media manipulation where stories are spun, narratives are shaped, and the truth is often lost amid the noise. This is a story about power, secrecy, and the monarchy's uneasy relationship with the media. It's a tale of image versus reality, and the lengths to which those in power will go to protect their legacy. As we navigate this web of ambition, the stakes for the House of Windsor have never been higher. The world is watching, and every move could alter the course of royal history. Let's begin. In July 2025, The Telegraph published a bombshell. King Charles's funeral plans included prominent roles for Prince Harry, Meghan, and their children. The leak from within the team planning the funeral revealed the King's wish for reconciliation, a gesture that could have reshaped public perception. Instead, the palace erupted in panic, shifting focus from the King's intentions to the breach itself. The leak exposed the vulnerability of even the most sensitive royal secrets to internal power games. By centering the Sussexes, the story forced uncomfortable questions. Who benefits from making the King's private plans public? Who feels threatened by a narrative of forgiveness? The fallout was immediate, drawing battle lines within the royal household. The monarchy's internal divisions were now impossible to ignore. Buckingham Palace's response was swift and uncompromising. Within hours of the story breaking, the palace machinery moved into action, determined to regain control of the narrative and protect the monarchy's reputation at all costs. The King's Communications Secretary, Tobin Andrea, orchestrated a behind-the-scenes campaign to suppress the story. He personally reached out to senior editors at The Telegraph, applying intense pressure to delay or alter their report, and made it clear that the palace would not tolerate dissent. When the paper refused to comply, Andrea escalated the situation. He issued a stark warning to the Royal Rota, the select group of journalists granted privileged access to royal events, making it known that any outlet covering the leak risked losing all future access to the palace. The threat was effective. Faced with the possibility of being shut out from royal coverage, no other major UK news outlet dared to touch the story. Newsrooms fell silent, and front pages remained conspicuously blank. This blackout revealed the palace's true power over the press, an influence that extended far beyond the familiar "never complain, never explain" mantra. It was a demonstration of raw authority wielded with precision. The monarchy's carefully crafted image of transparency and openness was suddenly shattered, replaced by a chilling display of control and secrecy. The public saw a side of the institution rarely glimpsed. The palace can, and will, enforce silence when it suits its interests, using access as leverage and making examples of those who step out of line. This episode exposed a selective, strategic use of power to shape the royal narrative, revealing just how far the institution will go to protect itself from scrutiny and controversy. When faced with a story it couldn't control, the institution simply commanded silence, shutting down debate and discussion with a single directive. The press, fearing exclusion and the loss of their privileged access, obeyed without protest, reminding us all that, in the world of royal reporting, access is everything, and silence can be enforced with just a word from the top. For Prince Harry, the palace's recent actions were more than just a headline. They were a powerful vindication of his long-standing claims about the inner workings of the royal institution. For years, Harry had spoken out, often at great personal cost, about the hidden relationships and backroom dealings that shaped the royal family's public image. He'd warned of a secret deal between the palace and the press, where stories are leaked or planted to serve internal agendas. These weren't just wild accusations. They were based on his own experiences growing up in the spotlight, watching how narratives could be twisted or suppressed to protect certain members of the family. His critics dismissed him as paranoid, suggesting he was exaggerating or seeking attention. But the leaked WhatsApp messages from Tobin Andrew, a senior tabloid editor, proved him right. The messages revealed a coordinated effort to manage and manipulate press coverage, confirming Harry's most controversial claims. Here was direct evidence of the palace threatening the press to control coverage, using its influence to shape what the public saw and heard. The revelations exposed a system where loyalty was rewarded and dissent was punished, all behind closed doors. The institution's power to protect its own was undeniable, yet it had refused to shield Meghan from relentless negative press. While some royals were fiercely defended, Meghan was left exposed, fueling public outrage and deepening the rift within the family. The palace claimed it couldn't control the media, insisting its hands were tied. But this incident proved otherwise, showing that intervention was possible when it suited their interests. The double standard was clear. The will to intervene existed, but only for those deemed worthy. This selective protection raised uncomfortable questions about fairness, loyalty, and who truly mattered within the royal hierarchy. Harry's warnings about manipulation and selective protection were no longer speculation, they were fact. The world was now forced to confront the reality he had described for so long, and the consequences rippled far beyond the palace walls. The monarchy's credibility was shaken, leaving the public to question not just the institution's actions, but its very integrity. As the palace scrambled to contain the leak, suspicion turned to Kensington Palace, Prince William's camp. The story cast King Charles as forgiving, but sidelined William, fueling theories of strategic leaks from his circle. This fit a familiar pattern. Positive moments for Harry and Meghan, often followed by negative stories, allegedly sourced to William's team. The funeral plan leak destabilized the king's authority and drowned out any hope of reconciliation. Whether intentional or not, the outcome favored a harder line, one that aligns with William's vision for the monarchy. The power struggle was no longer hidden. It was playing out in public, with the press as a weapon. The future of the monarchy was being shaped by these calculated moves. Rivalry between monarch and heir is nothing new, but today's battle is fought through media manipulation, not rival courts. King Charles, weakened by illness, seeks unity and legacy. Prince William, meanwhile, is building his own power base, acting as if he already wears the crown. The media, sensing the shift, may be aligning with the heir apparent. The Sussexes are now pawns in a larger contest for the monarchy's soul. The real struggle is between the king's conciliatory vision and William's more assertive approach. This dangerous vacuum at the heart of the institution threatens its stability. The outcome will define the House of Windsor for generations. The stakes are no longer just personal, they're existential. The monarchy's future hangs in the balance. The world is watching. The Operation London Bridge leak has exposed a monarchy at war with itself, where loyalty is traded and power is wielded through secrecy and manipulation. The palace's ability to silence the press shows its formidable control, but only when it chooses. The contrast between protecting the king's privacy and abandoning Meghan reveals a deeply conditional loyalty. This internal struggle risks alienating a public already questioning the monarchy's relevance. If the royal family cannot demonstrate unity and integrity, its legitimacy is at risk. The future of the crown depends on which vision of loyalty prevails: blind obedience or a demand for accountability and fairness. The battle for the soul of the monarchy is far from over.